Hey guys, say we're going to, this is the second video this week, and I want to point out a couple of things in what I have in store for you. There's a good possibility that as you're setting up your company, you go, oh geez, I didn't set it up correctly. I clicked the box that said provide the whole chart of accounts for a particular kind of business, maybe agricultural. That's what I've had some feedback there and that sort of thing. Maybe I already had it tie my bank accounts into it, that sort of thing. I don't want all that stuff. And I know sometimes we go through videos and we just glaze over instructions, and not everything sticks to our brain. It happens to me, and I know it happens to you as well. So anyway, for that reason, there is an option that you can actually start over. You have not done very much. It will not take you long to rebuild what you have already done, especially if it's confusing to you at this point. So I have included this little video in here called Purge or Wipe the Company. Okay, that will take all your downsize your chart of accounts. It'll take all the transactions out that you might have put in there accidentally and that sort of thing. So this is for practice. So rebuilding it will take far less time once you've done it once than it will at this point. So if you're in that you're in that place, then I would encourage you to purge and wipe it now. As you continue to add to your company, you're going to make some of those mistakes we make in the very beginning become bigger and bigger as you come through it. So anyway, that's that, not to belabor it too much. This part of the assignment that I want to actually interact with you about is has to do with an assignment we did earlier. And here we've got a cash flow that was started. And you might recognize this, but nobody else has access to it. There's no names to it or anything like that. And so anyway, I just chose this one. It's fairly simple. We're not going to do any of the cash flow inflows or any of the earnings side of things, this portion of the cash flow. I'm going to focus in on the operating expenses that we have here. What we need to do is actually include some equity accounts, the expense accounts, and add to our chart of accounts so that it properly reflects what our business is doing. And you can see here that this particular Student Inc. had some rent, had some utilities, groceries, and all these different expense accounts. These are actually outflows that affected his checking accounts because I had you build this from your statement. Okay, and hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, give me a call and I can explain it over the phone, or we can jump on one of these Zoom meetings and a conference call, and we can get that handled for you. But I want to describe each one of these, and these are very typical expense accounts that a college student could have. So, and rent would fall under an expense account. Utilities would, groceries would, eating out would, gas would, entertainment would, debt payment would not. Okay, that's not an expense. It's actually paying back. We already used that, and we probably used it for an expense early on, and now we're just paying the debt back, and is associated with a liability account. So do not put an expense account that says debt payment. Do not put one in there that says auto payment. Do not put one in there that says transfer to savings, because that's associated with another asset account. You could have a catch-all. Mine in my own business is supplies, so that says miscellaneous expenses. You could have one called gifts that is an expense in your chart of accounts for the expense equity account. Okay, so hopefully that's clear, and we can begin setting some of those up. So here I am in, let me get back to the dashboard. I'm in Craig's Design. Now you need to be in your own QuickBooks in order to make this work. But actually what we're going to do is we're going to build a couple of accounts. I'll just build a first couple of those. Okay, my accountant. No, not my accountant. We want to go to accounting and then chart of accounts and then new, and we're going to build one for rent. It's going to be an expense. Okay, expenses, other expenses. I want you to kind of be curious and just fool around with this and take a look at what's available to you within the expense. Is there any rent there that's already, as far as detail goes? Rent or lease buildings. Oh, there we go. Okay, as the detail type. So well, let's use that one. We're just going to call it rent for the name. Okay, and then we're going to set it up. It's an expense account. Save and close. Let's build another one while we're at it. And this one is going to be an expense account. Anyway, I wanted you to look what's available under other expenses, just for the heck of it. So you have some other types of expenses. And this is just so that we can look at it separately and some of the things that are available under these ones. But I'm going to put it back on expenses. And then we're going to look for utilities. There we go, right there. We can leave it like that. Okay. Now, what would utilities be? Well, it might be your Netflix account. It could be your internet service. It could be your cell phone. It could be electric. It could be water. It could be any of those kinds of things. Okay. So this would be the chance to create a major account, major expense account, and have some sub-accounts underneath it. So let's actually do that. And I'll just do it for one. But again, this is your system that we're building. So how do you want to build yours? Do you want to look at how much you spend on Netflix as a percentage of your total expenses or as a percentage of all utilities? It's something to think about. We can build as we go too. So it's not a big deal if we don't do anything right now. But let's go ahead and save that. I didn't like something. Something not quite. Another account is already using that. Okay, well, here, we'll just, all right, it already has a chart of accounts. But you're not going to have that if you start out with no chart of accounts. So it saved that. So let's go ahead and put in a sub-account for utilities. Okay, it's going to be an expense again. It's going to be utilities, and we're going to actually call it Netflix, and it's going to be a sub-account to utilities number 1. Okay, there we go. All right, now I'm just going to pull this over here. I want you to set up all those accounts and set them up for you. All right, now I'm just looking through here. This is this month here, but we'll use that one. We're going to say that that's all Netflix. Wow, that is an expensive Netflix bill. So it's $50, and we're going to pull that in as a utility as an expense. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this again, and then I'm going to come up here, go into expenses, and I'm going to pay with it via check. Just look at these other ways to bill things, or the ways to let's just use expense actually. Then that will give me the ability to, let me see if I can move this. There we go. Okay. Now, payee. Well, let's say it's just Netflix. Okay. Now, right now, the payee, the great thing about this, the first time you ever enter anything, it's going to ask you, okay, now do you want to add Netflix? You're going to have to add it if nothing else, okay, if it's not in there. So yes, Netflix, and then we can pull up the details. Okay, so we can keep track of all the address. This is going to be Netflix Inc. That sort of thing. Really a handy way to keep track of all your vendors in one place would be right in your accounting system. With their phone number, their email, and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to let you do that for your own vendor list, is build your own, okay? And if it is tracked with a 1099, at the end of the year we could give them a 1099. That's a little bit of peripheral type of information for you, but nothing you have to worry about right now. Okay, so we'll actually do that. It's coming out of checking. Let's just take a look at this. All right. Now, I've encouraged you in this class, and you're getting some different information if you're in my management class, but to start out simple and practical is that you want to use your checking account for all things that come and go out of your business, just to keep it simple to start with. You can make it complex or more complicated as you go along. So here's some of the other ways that you can pay that, or which accounts you can use. Okay, so a debit would be the same as a checking. So if you didn't know that, or were kind of confused by that, you're going to use your checking account in this case. And if it's in August, maybe this is on the 5th of August that we actually made this payment method, American Express, cash, check, diners. Okay, we're just going to pick check. And then what I want to put here is the category. Sub-account. Okay, it actually, if I know what it is, it will actually pull it up. So it says Netflix, sub-account of utilities number 1. We can put a description in there. Amount was $50. All right. Customer, don't need any of that, whether it's a taxable or billable. Okay, don't worry about those things right now. We're just working with that, and then save it. Okay, expense was saved for $50. Now, what I want you to do for this assignment is enter in all of your expenses. First of all, by creating those accounts within your chart of accounts, those equity accounts. And then from your cash flow and your statement from your bank that you built before you built the cash flow from it, I want you to actually go through and enter each one of the transactions. You're going to post these transactions into QuickBooks. Okay, I hope that helps. If you have any questions, again, the best thing to do is to give me a call, leave a message. I do check my messages on a regular basis, and I want to help you out if you run into any snags. Sometimes the smallest thing can get in the way of making progress. Okay, so I'll leave it at that and let you go to work. And look forward to taking a look at what you've accomplished this week.